I'm about to reveal how you guys can start making money with crypto arbitrage opportunities, so let's just give it a go. And right off the bat, the concept of price arbitrage is the fundamental one that we need to understand. Just take a look at this very basic example here. You're basically taking a look at the same item in two different stores. You're gonna find it listed for $1 in a particular store, and then you're gonna have it for a higher price in a different one. Now, that discrepancy between the two prices is called the price arbitrage. There's just a difference. But that concept is really important because it's the basis of the dropshipping model. You see, what dropshippers are doing out there, what online sellers are doing is that they're just finding a very cheap supplier, such as AliExpress, where they can purchase this item for $20, and then they're increasing the price and selling it on eBay. And so they are artificially creating some sort of price arbitrage, a difference between the two different prices of the same item in different markets. What are they gonna do up next? Well, just sell these items for a profit. They're gonna take into account all of the shipping expenses, the advertising expenses as well, and they will keep a solid profit. If everything goes according to plan, of course. And we can actually see something very similar when it comes to cryptocurrencies. Let's just take a look at a few different cryptocurrency exchanges such as Binance and Crypto.com. And let's just pick a random coin, let's say Ethereum. The last price of Ethereum on Binance.com was $1,000. And let's take a look on Crypto.com as well. And there you have it, one Ethereum is worth about $1,017 here. And as you can spot, there is a slight price discrepancy. And so in theory, here's what you could do at this point. You could purchase one Ethereum for $1,005 off of Binance.com and then sell it for this amount on Crypto.com. And you get to keep a $12 profit just like that, by taking advantage of this price discrepancy. But there is a little bit more that goes into it than that. You also have to take into account the withdrawal and deposit fees that you have to pay. And so there are certain expenses that come with this earning opportunity as well. So you gotta do the math and keep those in mind. Otherwise, you might not end up profitable. You might actually end up wasting some cash, losing some money, instead of making profits. And one other important thing we have to keep in mind is the fact that these earning opportunities are available for a very short period of time. And so the time window is very narrow and you gotta move fast. And let's just think about the logistics of this process for a second. What you have to do is head over to Binance.com, deposit some money in case you don't already have any, then purchase Ethereum, send it over to your Crypto.com wallet, then sell it on this platform and then cash out. That's gonna take quite some time, and before you know it, the earning opportunity might vanish just like that. That's why you have to move really fast. But if everything goes according to plan and if you've taken everything into account, this process is replicable. If you think about it for a second, purchasing and selling one Ethereum is not going to be that profitable. We're talking about $12. But purchasing 10 Ethereum, that will give you an extra $120 if everything goes according to plan again. This is just a hypothetical example. 100 Ethereum and we're talking about $1,200 in profits, and so on and so forth. But now, let's face it, most of us cannot afford purchasing 100 Ethereum at the same time. That would be an investment of $100,000, and unless you really know what you're doing there, you're just gambling. Let's call it what it is. You don't know whether or not the opportunity will be available for long enough. You don't know whether you'll be able to sell all of your ETH soon enough. So there are a lot of different things you can be missing out on. And so even if you do have the capital, there are a few different things that could go wrong. But now guys, according to Binance.com, there are a few different ways you can do it. You don't necessarily have to trade across different platforms, different exchanges. You can actually just use Binance.com and that's it. How are you gonna do that? Well, by taking advantage of the so-called peer-to-peer marketplace. You can basically take advantage of these price discrepancies within your peer-to-peer marketplace. You see, if you look through Binance P2P, you will find that crypto prices might differ depending on the offer's payment method or local currency. And so these two factors will determine the price basically. Now, once you have found that difference, once you found the earning opportunity, what you need to do is find a potentially profitable price spread. Now, once you've understood that concept, what you need to do is find the earning opportunity. In other words, you need to find a potentially profitable price spread. Essentially, you're buying from a user selling low and then selling to a different user who is buying high. In order to help you with your search and make everything more streamlined, you can easily filter your homepage by payment method or local currency. And that is how you're discovering all of these different crypto arbitrage opportunities basically. And there is another way that you can go about it. You can take advantage of both the standard Binance exchange, also called the spot market, and the P2P marketplace. How are you gonna do that? Well, here is how. The process is very similar to the first technique, but it requires some extra steps. You can find a lower price token on the regular market, on the spot market on Binance, and then sell it on the Binance P2P marketplace at a higher price, or the other way around, or vice versa. It sounds simple, but there are a few things to keep in mind. You gotta make sure that you set a limit price for your spot market order. Then you also have to keep in mind that cryptocurrencies are volatile, and so the prices are gonna move fast, and your orders might actually result in price slippage. You may think you're purchasing that Ethereum for a certain price, and then before you know it, you're purchasing it for a lot higher just because of the price slippage. And second, you gotta check if the coin is supported on both platforms. Again, there are a few things you need to keep in mind here. So this is not an effortless process, but it is not very difficult either. You do not have to be a cryptocurrency or a blockchain expert. You just gotta understand the fundamentals, you gotta understand the concept, and then make sure that you pay attention to details. But let's take a look at something else for a second. Again, so we've basically just determined that if you're able to generate, let's say, a $10 profit for 1 Ethereum, you could, in theory, generate a $100 profit for 10 Ethereum. But most people cannot afford to pay that much money at once. Well, that's where flash loans come into play. And one such platform that is famous for their flash loans is Aave.com. Simply put, in a flash loan, funds are borrowed by you and returned within seconds and in a single transaction. You see, guys, what Aave does is that they literally lend you a huge amount of money, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars if you need that. But the drawback is they're only gonna do that for a few seconds. You would have to return that amount of money in 14 seconds or so, which is the amount of time it would take for an Ethereum block to get validated. That is just the standard procedure. And so you will get access to a few $100,000 perhaps for a brief period of time. People do is that they borrow this amount of money from Aave, then they find a crypto arbitrage opportunity on the market, and then they take advantage of it. But now let's face it, a human being will not be able to do everything fast enough. They will probably make some sort of mistake along the lines, and they will end up not being profitable. And remember, you gotta give the money back after 14 seconds. And there is more to it than that. There's more to it than meets the eye. You see, you cannot just access millions of dollars just like that for asking for them. You also have to provide some collateral. In case you're not familiar with the term, this is something pledged as security for the repayment of a loan. And so in case something happens, that will be forfeited. So if you do own some crypto assets, you're gonna place those as collateral and then borrow the money, right? So you're not just going to borrow it for free. You will have to give them some sort of guarantee, if you will. Now, to put it very simply, they gotta make sure they will receive their money back, right? It makes a lot of sense. And there's something else that needs to be said about crypto arbitrage opportunities. Just because of the fact that this process is quite complex, in other words, there are a lot of things that could go wrong, just because there are countless different things that could go wrong when it comes to making all of these different transactions. What people have done is that they have automated the process. They have created software that allows them to step out and just let the process go on its own. It is self-sustainable. And there are a lot of different platforms out there that provide flash loan software that is beginner-friendly to use. Now, to be entirely truthful, generally speaking, crypto arbitrage is not necessarily something that a human being can take advantage of. Again, the crypto market is really volatile, the prices can change in a second, and there are a lot of things that could go wrong. And unless you're willing to risk all of your capital, you want to have some systems in place, and that's where software comes into play. And also, you have to keep in mind there are ways to make sure that everything is done efficiently. Again, you can just do it all within one single platform, such as the Binance P2P, in order to minimize the time you need to make those transactions. There are countless different tips and tricks that you can implement. And so guys, in my opinion, crypto arbitrage is not necessarily something that a complete beginner could start profiting off of after watching an 8 to 10 minute YouTube video. You will need to dive a little bit deeper, really understand what's happening here, because your capital is at risk. You're playing with real cash here, so you gotta understand what's actually happening behind the scenes. There are risks when it comes to arbitrage trading as well. It is not 100% safe, so you gotta know what you're doing. That's it for now, and thank you so much for watching.